Amir Syed. Let's go, baby. I am so excited to have you on the Rainmaker podcast. I don't think anybody says let's go better than you do. So let's hear it.
Let's go, LO Nation.
Let's go. Let's go. Okay. You and I go way back and have such a similar background in terms of our professional career and our sales training. And we've kind of talked a lot about all the students that you're coaching and go coaching, your personal journey as a loan officer, what's going on in the world, and what LOs need to equip themselves with to win in today's market. But I first wanted to just kind of go back into your personal story, because so many people right now have said, gosh, this is so hard. And what I'm finding is the people who are really thriving in today's market over the last 2 years have probably had some actual real hard go down in their life. And so I want to start with your story before mortgage and what made you you, and just get to know Amir as the immigrant and as the gritty guy before mortgage. So tell us that story.
Well, we talked for an hour before we launched this podcast. You and I just can talk and talk and talk. So I want to know, and it flew by. It's so amazing to be here, Shayla. Like when we were at the core, when I would see you at stage, I'm going to tell you this for the first time. When I found out you had not gotten a blue dragon during our time at the core, I got so angry. And I was like, how is this person not going to, this is like lightning in a bottle. And so to be here together after all these years, doing what we're doing, it's just like, I never take moments like this for granted. And a lot of that has to do with my upbringing, right? Which I'm very honored you brought up, because some people know this, but most people don't. I was born in Iran, which is in the Middle East. I'm Persian. And so between 1980 and 1988, Iran and Iraq, neighboring countries, had an 8-year war. 1 million people died in that war. And so, there was bombs going over our apartment building. My uncles were coming back from war with post-traumatic stress disorder. It was very rough. Maybe some of your listeners come from a war-torn country. I mean, it's not easy, right? And so my parents were like, this is nuts. This is our only child. Like, we got to get out of here. And so, they packed their bags. They left all their siblings, and mind you, my dad, this is the second time he went through this. My dad is originally Iranian, but he had to go to Pakistan.
Wow.
His father, my grandfather, India and Pakistan had a civil war, which India was one country and they split between Pakistan. My grandfather was a prisoner of war for 4 years. And so my dad was the oldest sibling. He had to go to Iran to take care of his mom and his 3 younger siblings to send money back.
Wow.
Meets my mom, falls in love. Then Iran has a war with Iraq. So here's my dad, like, here we go again. He's got to pack. We leave. We go to London. Couldn't get a job there, my parents. They went to San Francisco because they had a distant relative. They left everybody. Like, it's just us 3.
Wow.
And my mom, couldn't get a job at McDonald's. Came to Chicago. My dad got a job as a shoe salesman making $375. I speak no English. I have a learning disability. We're living in a 500 square foot apartment in 1 bedroom, like very difficult. I'm getting bullied, beat up. Like I remember it, right? And then we move again 3 years later, right when things were getting good, to another apartment, 700 square feet. Dad's making it, a lot of pressure, like hard Chicago winters, like there's financial pressure between my parents. So there's a lot of contentiousness going on, and I'm meeting new kids, getting bullied again. So then we move again when I was 10. And then we moved into our first home in 1992. They bought that home for $290,000. I had gotten into a really bad fight in this other neighborhood. And I came home, Shayla, and I was 12 years old. And I walk in the apartment, and my mom's like, what happened to you? I had a black eye. I go, oh, Mom, I got in playing basketball. Moms know. Mama knows, child. She knew. She's like, what's going on? So she called upstairs because my best friend Charlie lived on the 3rd floor. The mom picked up and she said, what, did anything happen today with Amir and Charlie? She says, no. And she goes, Amir, I think got into a really bad fight again. So she went and got Charlie, the mom, and said, Charlie, what happened to Amir? And Charlie's like, I don't think he should go to the dance tonight, the school dance, because he got into a bad fight and these kids want to harm him. My mom was like, you're not going to this dance. Monday, I find out these kids came with knives, bats. Like, yes. And my mom found out. She called my dad. She goes, we need to get out of this school district. So we went to this place called Wilmette. A lot of the Chicago people will know this place. It's a very affluent neighborhood. So here I am. I'm in this school. It's like all 98% white.
Yeah.
It's me and like 4 Indian kids. So I'm getting like completely roasted, like, and just getting bullied again. And I'm like, dude, I'm like, this is nuts. So I had a lot of emotional baggage, and like it's very tough first 12 years, but we had love at home. So when I'm there, I'm like, these kids don't get into fights. Like they're all like really smart. I met an Armenian kid. He looked just like me. I'm like, dude, why are you so tan? It's like only March. He said, I went to Aspen on a ski trip. I'm like, you went where? And you ski? I'm like, dude, my parents, we never went anywhere. My mom would bring popcorn and Coca-Cola to the movie theater.
Oh,
that's how like broke we were. Like we had nothing. We had like a basic bike. So I met him. Then he started bringing me to church. He goes, "You're a really good basketball player. You should come to church. We have a youth group basketball league." And I'm born Muslim, right? Like, but we never practiced. We were very like, my parents were super cool about it. I said, "Dude, I'm coming to church. Like, what's gonna happen there? Is it like voodoo?" He's like, "No, dude, it's super chill." So I went over there. It was the first time in my life. I've told this story many times. I still go to this church in Chicago when I go back. I live in Miami now. Pastor was Mexican. There was African American kids, Asian kids, white kids. They were the happiest people because I grew up 12 years with a lot of contentiousness around me. So why are these people so happy? Like they're very like modest people. They took me in. The church changed my life. Oh. I got into no trouble. My grades picked up. Not good enough, but I had a 1.7 GPA. My mentor for 4 years, Mr. Reardon, said, the day he graduated me in high school, all these kids were going off to these major universities. And I remember sitting in the back, and when he came to me, he goes, "Son, what's wrong?" I go, "Mr. Reardon, I'm a loser." Every time I tell the story, man, it's just like, he looked at me, and I'll never forget what he said. He goes, "Son, you're not a loser." He goes, "Real school starts after school ends." He said, "This doesn't define you." He goes, "You're a great young man. You have a huge heart. I met your parents. Like, don't worry about this. School's not for you. You'll be okay." My best friend, Danny, the Armenian kid, his uncle is a former CEO of a major Fortune 500 company. He goes, "Amir, go talk to my uncle, Dennis. $15 million home in Chicago. Shayla, like amazing guy. He's my mentor to this day. My first mentor after my dad. I go in his home. I'm like, "Mr. Chikazian, I'm a piece of shit. I'm a loser. All these kids are going to college. What am I going to do?" Well, here's what I realized, and this is why I'm in coaching now. It takes just one person to say something really warm and encouraging when they don't even know that person's in the lowest part of their life. And it's like honey to the soul. He goes, "Amir, do you know who the highest paid people in my company are?" And I have 12,000 employees. I said, "Who?" "The executives and the salespeople." Yeah. I'm like, "The salespeople?" And I was a high school janitor. I worked at my dad's car dealership, washing cars, and I was already selling. I said, "Salespeople?" He goes, "Listen, you're going to get into college. You're going to be okay. Get really good grades. I'll write you a letter of recommendation for the Northwestern University Kellogg School of Business. I'm on the board. I'll get you. You're a great young man. I hear about you. I'm getting to know you. My mom loves you," because I was really close with his mom, Danny's grandma. He goes, "Just get good grades." But he goes, "I'm going to tell you something. I think you should drop out of college. I don't think you go to a couple of years. You don't need college." He goes, "You go sell. Learn how to sell. If you can sell, you'll always be successful." The selling was always a low looked upon industry. And I'm like, selling, what am I going to do? So I go to college for like a couple semesters. I'm in this class and this kid keeps coming in, Middle Eastern, with a suit on. I'm like, "Dude, let me talk to you for a second. Let me holler at you." I said, "Why are you wearing a freaking suit, dude?" He goes, "I'm in the mortgage business part-time." I go, "The what?" He goes, "Mortgage." I go, "What is that?" And he explained it. He goes, "I'm an account executive at World Savings Bank," option arms. I'm like, "World Savings Bank? Is there a bank for the whole world that you can save money?" He goes, "No, dude, it's the name of it." I go, "What do you do?" And he started explaining to me. He said, "You can do really, really well in this." And he goes, "It's 2002, 2003. So Shayla, I'm living at home. I'm a good Middle Eastern boy. I lived at home till I was 27. Okay. It's just my family, my mom and dad. My dad wanted me to get in the business with him. It's Sunday morning. We're having Persian breakfast. I am so nervous because I'm like, my dad is going to like kick me out of the house. I'm praying. I'm like, "Dad, how would you feel if I didn't work for you and I went, like, I had a whole little speech prepared and I went here and he looked at me, he goes, you should do it. He goes, you should
Oh,
work for somebody else. You should know what it's like to work for somebody else. Because if you're going to be a leader one day, you need to understand what it's like to have a boss. He goes, you kind of do your thing. My parents have always given me such great wings, you know? So I say, hey, put me on. He goes, there's a little brokerage. He goes, they just left AmeriQuest. These are the top law officers from AmeriQuest, right? He goes, they're looking for young hustlers. He goes, I'll look good because I'll place you there as an accounting executive. I go, all right, put me on. So I call the owner, Kevin Taylor. He picks up. He's like, hey, I heard you're a real good hustler. You're thinking about leaving college. You know, you want to get into sales. He goes, we're looking for somebody. I said, when can I come for an interview? He goes, can you come Friday at 1 p.m.? I said, no problem. I had a challenger assignment notebook. And on the top of the challenger assignment notebook was all these quotes. The quote I read that day was, to get to a man's heart is go through his belly. Like, and I'm like, what does this mean? I'm like, oh, give him food. I go, Dad, I need to go buy a suit. I got an interview on Friday. He goes, we have these laundry machines in our apartment buildings. Here's the keys. Every month you'll get some quarters. Get the quarters. Whatever you get, you can go buy a suit. So I go get $312 in quarters. I go to the bank. I get the money. I go buy the tackiest, cheesiest suit with the tackiest shoes. I go to Nuna Kebab, famous Persian restaurant, get 4 platters of shish kebabs. I go all the way to Schaumburg, Illinois. I'm thinking it's going to be a major company. I got food in my hand. I open the door. It's like 4 guys cold calling. You know? I'm like, is Mr. Taylor here? They all started cracking up. Gave him the food, and boom, that was my entry in the mortgage business. So that's crazy journey. I know it's a longer story.
And you were how old at this time?
I was 20, maybe 2021.
This is so cool. And did you start working in Schaumburg?
Yeah, I was in Schaumburg, Illinois Mortgage Funding. 604.
And how much longer did you stay in college?
I dropped out like 2 months later.
Okay.
Because I got my first check and I'm like, what am I doing? I'm never going back to school.
And your learning disability, what was your learning disability?
I don't think I have it anymore, but it was a mixture of, I wasn't clinically, but like the teachers would say, this kid can't sit still. Like he can't, he's not a good reader. He's dyslexic, like he can't understand things. I just bounce around, you know? I couldn't understand concepts. I was in freshman math senior year. That's how bad it was. Very bad.
I'm so happy that you said that. So, so much of your story is relatable to me, and I'm sure everybody that is listening. But the hilarious point is that I went to college opposite. I had straight A's because I, as a young person, didn't feel stability and that I didn't feel likable. I didn't feel lovable, really. And I couldn't get the attention of my parents because they weren't in a war-torn country, but they were trying like hell to raise the roof on their previous generation. They both grew up poor. And so they started a business young and they were very, 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 very busy. And so as a very little person, that's where I felt instability, is that I wasn't good enough as I wasn't noticed. And so there was born the achiever in me, that if Shayla just got straight A's, if she just did well in school, if she was the perfect child or the happy kid or independent or had no needs and was always kicking ass, well, then she would get noticed and get the love and adoration that she wanted. So that's where my drive comes from. So I had straight A's going into college, not because I was necessarily super smart. It was because it was a survival thing. It was like I was competitive and wanted to be noticed so bad. But I only made it through college a year because I'm also like you, entrepreneurial. I didn't want to sit around. Like I want to get going. I want to make money. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
And so when I dropped out, it was to sell weight loss pills and vitamins and all that because I saw other people's big fat checks in network marketing. And I moved to Palatine, Illinois, which is right next door to Schaumburg. And
yes.
I lived in a 1-bedroom apartment with 5 people. I was 19 years old and I bought 2 suits and they each bought 2 suits. And every day we would trade. So I looked like I was in a new suit every day. But
What year was this?
So this was I graduated high school in 99. So I moved to Chicago in the summer of 2000.
Yeah, I graduated high school in 99 as well. We may have, how long were you there for in Chicago?
So I was in Chicago for a year and then I moved to Ohio because I wanted to own my own territory. So I signed an office lease in Dayton, Ohio at the age of 20. I never even been there. I made up some fake LLC that my mom had. somehow I got the landlord to like sign a lease to me at 20 years old. But let's talk then about how I really like the learning disability conversation. I really like my painful conversation because, the way we adapt through pain is often how we get our greatest strength. And you obviously have charisma for days, Amir. Also, you're a fantastic storyteller. And you took the Rainmaker assessment prior to getting on this podcast, and your primary archetype is marketer, and secondary is networker. And when I say marketer as a natural archetype, what I mean is you're a good storyteller. Like you love to tell stories. You love to connect through stories. You love to move people through them. And so I hope as people think about what they just experienced with you and why you've become so successful in sales. Obviously you had, that fire in your belly young and you watched your parents. It sounds like your dad and mom came here with pennies and nickels, gone from apartment to apartment to buying a home. Did you say they owned apartment buildings and owned a car dealership?
Yeah. So what happens is when my dad in the Iranian community, either you're like a rocket scientist or you're like a small business owner. There's no in between. But all your parents in Iran, they're like, you got to be a doctor or a lawyer or an attorney. Like that's what they want, right? Like my sisters, my sister was born 12 years later. We have a 12-year gap. Like she's aced her ACT, London School of Economics. We're like opposites, right?
Yeah.
So but
she was born in the US.
She was born and raised in the same house, same schools. I mean, we are completely different. It is wild, like 12 years apart. So my dad had a bunch of Iranian guys and they're like, Hassan, like, we love you. Like you should get into the car business. This is what we do. We buy cars at the auction. We sell them outside of our apartment building. We put them in the classified section. We make some money, So my dad he's a great salesman. He was selling 6, 7 of these cars outside the apartment building and the neighbors started complaining. And my mom was like, you need to get a dealership. So he went and rented a car lot in Wrigleyville. In the 80s, Wrigleyville was a dump. People don't realize how bad it was, right? They're like, Hassan, no one has made this lot work in 10 years. It's a rough area. My dad has a saying, he goes, yes, whatever I touch turns to gold, but I don't touch everything. I know what to touch. And he's like, this place just needs a good operator. So he had his little 30-car dealership. And I would go there in the summers, and then what happened is Iranians, they compete. One of his Iranian car dealer friends bought a 20-unit apartment building. And my dad's like, well, you bought it. I'm going to buy one. And then he bought one. And then one of his Iranian car dealer friends said, Hassan, you know where the real money is at is not the dealership every day. It's the land your cars are sitting on. So my dad bought that dealership. Wrigleyville boomed. And when he sold it, I'll never forget that day because I worked 6 days a week during the summer. He goes, Amir, he goes, just remember this as long as you live. He goes, rent where you own. If you can, own where your business is, own the real estate. And he goes, there's going to be a day where you're going to have to own your knowledge. He goes, just remember that. And this is what we're doing at Go because I'm owning my knowledge. So that car dealership, he made more money on it. He goes, I've been slaving 6 days a week in this damn Chicago snow. He goes, we make more money off this lot, the land. He goes, Amir, real estate, just be in real estate. So that was the journey from car business to apartment buildings.
So I think one of the key strategies for anybody that's a marketer archetype is to get good at telling your story of why homeownership. See, some people are selling homes, some people are selling loans, but we need to sell homeownership. Yes. And I bet if I challenged you for half of a second, you could go back and think about what your life was like in apartment 1 and apartment 2 versus a home. And you could think about what were the sacrifices that your parents had to make in order to buy that home when they did. And what did it mean for your family, short-term and long-term, that they made those sacrifices and they did what they had to do to get into that home? What opportunities and stability and freedom and confidence and just, family and memories did it create for your family because they did what they did? And so we don't have to go there because you've given so much context, but hopefully the listener is really thinking. And if you haven't done this, think about, why did you buy a home? What was it like truly to be a renter? How unstable did you feel? Or what kind of control did you have? Or what was your vibe like? But also go back to your parents and grandparents. And I think right now when we're talking to buyers, we have to get out of the data and get back into their emotions. Because honestly, if you go back to your past generations, like the things that'll make you cry or tear up or whatever, is like truly that if your parents hadn't done that, how much different would your life be? Like if your parents wouldn't have left the war-torn country that they did, first big choice. Second, if they wouldn't have busted their ass the way they did with all the sacrifices to then get into a home, to then, give you the stability of that great school that opened the door for the church, that got you to that great mentor. It's just kind of remarkable to think about. So your second archetype is a networker. And I think that the two archetypes have to work together because you've got to be doing what's natural and in your strength and realizing that that's enough. Just be the biggest version of you as a storyteller. And then second, once you've opened the door with your first archetype, usually you got to close it with your second, meaning you've got to scale and you've got to expand. And we're here on this call today, as I was telling you, because I've seen your marketing. I've seen your emails. Like you're consistent. Yay for you. But you didn't have my heart until I saw you face to face at the Modern Mortgage Summit in May of 2023. And we reconnected again. And your vibe, your charm, your charisma, your energy. From that day on, I haven't stopped looking at you and being connected, if that makes sense. Because ultimately that's what sales is like, you got to get from the screen and the digital to the real life to like close the deal.
Very well said. Very well said.
So I want to play with a couple parts of your story and give tactics now. Okay. You go into telemarketing.
Right.
What are some things that you've learned to be great on the phone? And was it natural for you because you're a storyteller, or what are those tactics that you could share with us?
Yes. Okay. Great. Very well said. So, when I started telemarketing, it is the gutter, the dungeon of sales. I got public records. We were talking about this the other day. Landscape, legal size documents. It had 10 homeowners on each page. First name, last name, address, phone number, and the mortgage company they were making payments to, and their interest rate and the loan amount. I had a ruler. This is before like phone burner and all this. 0203, right? Like, here's a phone. Here's a ruler. Here's a pen. And I said, let's start with why first. I go, let's not just jump into these calls. I said, Kevin, my first boss, shout out to Kevin Taylor. I said, Kevin, what is the purpose of you making these calls? He said, these people have a high interest rate and they can get a lower interest rate. I said, okay. I said, so they're overpaying when they shouldn't. He said, yes. I said, and we're helping them? He goes, yes. I said, that's all I need to hear. So I had conviction. Right. I stopped and I started with the why. I said, okay, I'm going to save these people now. So I made the calls. I sucked at first, just like anything. But then I was like, hold on, reflection. The first 30 seconds are everything. That is important real estate. So I went and bought the book, Smart Calling. I studied it. Okay. And I said, all right, how can I build rapid rapport? Because a cold call is high tension, low trust. How can I get this? Boom, eye to eye immediately. I said, I need a perfect 7 seconds. I said, let me look at their last name. I'm going to know very quickly in this diverse town of Chicago, if I hear a little accent, I'm going to know what language they speak. I learned how to say, hi, how are you? In 23 different languages.
Wow.
Perfect enunciation. I said, if I can break that ice, I'm going to get it. If they're Greek, I got it. If they're Chinese, I got it. I know what to say. I know how to say, hi, how are you? So I would listen to it. So I made the calls. Boom, right off the bat. I came out. I said, they don't need to worry about my last name. They don't need to worry about my title or my company name. That's a waste of breath. I'm not going to say, how are you? Because that's telemarketer breath. I'm going to replace it with, it's nice to meet you. So I mastered that first 7 seconds. And I said, holy cow, vocal impressions are so overlooked. Tonality, pace, right? All these things. It was an amazing exercise for me. Now I was living at home. So I didn't have the pressure of getting a paycheck either, right? I was smart. I sacrificed. When everyone was going out buying nice things, I'm like, no, I'm going to live at home. I have $500 a month. I can really study this, right?
Yep.
So when I was making these calls, I crushed it. I became the number one guy at 300 LOs, the youngest guy in the company. So I would take applications. Shayla, I'm going to give a little more tactic here, which I think is going to help everybody. And a lot of people now, I don't want to like say this, but like I I'm known as the scripting god, right? Like you put me on the phone with anyone, I know what to say. So what happened is I'm taking these applications, getting people's social security numbers. I would go put the application in a bin, have them will take $100 bills on the whiteboard. You get an app, you get $100. I was getting 5 a day, making 500 cash a day. I'm seeing the names on the pipeline board for all these 4 top LOs because I was a dialer for these guys. All the last names are mine. And I'm like, KT, why are these guys high-fiving in the bullpen over there? Like they're driving nice cars now. He goes, kid, I don't know. They're closing all your apps. You're not even just getting regular apps. You're getting amazing apps, right? He goes, what? I need to sit with you now. Here's what I would do. I had so much conviction that when I would call, in my mind, I'm like, I'm literally going to save these people. I said, my name is Amir. I'm not going to go through the script, even though I've said it 50,000 times. Basically, I would say, I pick 1 or 2 homeowners a day, a little bit of a white lie, because I want to create exclusivity and scarcity for them. I go, that I know I can help. I think it's unfair that you're paying an 8% interest rate. You work very hard for your money. You're getting in the car, sitting in traffic, going to work to pay probably an extra $3,000 to $4,000 a month or a year that you don't have to. And I think I can help you save that money. Boom, I caught them. And they're like, you're right. It is unfair. I said, so what we're going to do is we're going to take 15 minutes. I'm going to ask you some questions and I'm going to see if I can help you. And worst case, I will be with you every step of the way until you're ready to actually take advantage of some of these low rates. And they would open up to me and I would go through it and I would sequence conversationally and I would whisper at certain parts. So I fell in love with the language of sales. I always joke around English is my second language, but sales is my first language.
Yeah.
You know? So that's what happened.
I love that the skill can be learned. And I love that you had some natural proclivity to being a sales guy. Maybe, you know, in the Iranian community, it's kind of that hustler, right? Yeah, that's you had developed your charisma because you were bullied and you had to figure out being the new guy and the brown guy and this guy, like how do you do it? But the truth is the art and mastering the art, like being level 10 or level 11 excellence does require sacrifice and study. And I think for so many people wing it and they're like, yeah, I'm good. But like, compared to who? Compared to what? Compared to what standard? And you went for this excellence. I've never heard anybody tell me that they've memorized "Hi, how are you" in 23 languages. Like that is mastery. I want to detour so bad and go, why do you have that have to win inside of you? What is the pain or the drive in that early Amir? It was like, I have to win and get good at this.
Well, I think you're a great interviewer. I think Shayla, I don't know, you're more advanced than me understanding like behavioral psychology and things like that. But I think I've thought about it now at 43 years old. First of all, it's my parents. They were very hardworking. They are very hardworking, you know, like they just have that immigrant hustle, you know, like I'm sure people have studied it. Like they had to survive and they worked their ass off. My parents are very honest people. They never cut corners. Like when my mom would help me with my homework, she was a teacher back home, right? So when she would help me with my homework, she was like, that T's not crossed right. Like she was like super obsessed with how I did my homework. So she taught me. I would see her around the home. Like they're very ethical, hardworking. And my mom is very charming. My dad's also very lovable. My mom was also very charming. So some of that was innate, but that hard work, I had to work. So like I was working every Saturday at 14 years old. I was working 6 days a week in the summer. It was like, you have no choice. My dad would pull me out of bed and say, we're going to work. The other thing too, I think is like, for years, you know, I've just finally, it's like the last maybe 7, 8 years, I've gotten rid of it. But this has been a lot through therapy. I've learned like, I had a major chip on my shoulder. So my closest friends, like Justin, my co-partner, will say, he came to work out with me the other day here in Miami, and the trainer is like, go do those bicep curls to fatigue. I go, Connor, you know I hate when you say that. Like, what number would just shock you? He's like, I'd be shocked if you can get 25 of those. And Justin's like, I don't know how long you're working out with Amir, Connor, but you the guy, you tell him he can't do it, he's going to do it. I just like have channeled my anger now in a way where I don't need to prove to anyone anything. But for years, I'm like, I'm going to fucking show you. I'm not a broke immigrant kid. I don't care. Like I was angry and I'm like, I'm going to fucking outwork partners. I'm F-bombs. It was an anger that also wasn't healthy for a long time. But now that I have a wife and I have a daughter, I'm mature, I've gone through a lot of work. So like now I can channel it the right way where I don't damage relationships around me either. You know?
Beautiful.
So
Thank you for saying that. And I think as a coach, one thing that is, or just as a person, ever since I was a little girl, the thing that fries me or that triggers me is seeing people that are in their beauty and their talent, because that's my gift, as I can see you and I could be like, oh my gosh, like, I mean, back when we coached, it was like, oh, here we go. Like, here's talent. But if you don't work talent, it never becomes a strength. And I see so many people that are blocked and they're playing small and they're not just going all in. They are hiding behind things. And I want them to get a little mad. Like, I like that you had anger as fuel and you channeled that in such a way to become a rainmaker, to become self-made, to be able to open up all possibilities. You shared with me earlier, you spent over $600,000 on IVF and miscarriages and all the things that you did in surrogacy. Yeah. Wow. Mm-hmm. Like, had you not taken your anger and fueled it into effort with conviction, saying, I can save this person. So talk to me about calling a realtor, because everybody asks that question. Or say you're a networker, so we could kind of play with networking. You're at a networking event and you're surrounded, you're like at a local board event or you're at whatever. Tell me about, you're walking into a networking situation. How do you get your conviction and how does that show up? What are you saying in your head and how does it come outside?
I love this topic, okay? Because it's like, it's digestible. It's what people need. Everything first is mindset. This thing between our two brains, people don't talk enough about. My mindset is I have to be of value to people. In order to be of value, I need to be of value. So every day, how I became a top producer, I've read every realtor book, full fee agent, $1 million agent. I've read them all. I study agents. I'm like, if I'm going to be with them, I'm going to know their business better than them. Yep. So we have to add value in ourselves every day. This is the thing that drives me crazy about LOs. My nephew Tutu in Arkansas, he loves deer. He has a deer stand. He watches the camera. He watches deer videos on YouTube. He would use a deer magazine. I'm like, whoa. But that's his avatar. He has to think like a deer, right? Yep. We go after realtors and we just are, well, I'm a loan officer. No, I'm you. I'm going to know your business just as good as you. Even though I don't do it every day, but really, do I have to do it? Like 90% of it is marketing and sales, right? Like I'm going to learn. So I said, I'm going to be of value. Now I need to illustrate that value. So now I'm confident. Confidence comes first from competence, right? So every day I'm reading these things, watching YouTube videos every morning, right? So now I started creating, we talk about this, like I'm a very big believer in persuasion and persuasion. You have to be seen before you're known, liked, and trusted. So naturally, I'm a marketer. So I said, okay, before this whole Go Coaching thing, I started my Facebook every day. I do realtor content. I launched an email newsletter. I said, I'm going these power hours on Monday. Like with the same old, did you work? Did you play? I'm like, I don't want to say that anymore. Yeah. I want to walk in like Andre the Giant and I've already delivered value in advance. The agents want to make more money and save time. So I'm going to give me either a product or a money-making tip in less than a 3-minute read. So I learned how to construct an email newsletter, subject line, delivery date, content. I mastered also copywriting because I'm like, I want to be prolific. I'm going to sell physically, visually, audibly, textually. I'm going to learn because this is my craft. I spend 10 hours a day. I'm going to be the best at it, right? So I learned how to copyright. Then I said, wait a minute. Why am I overselling a small audience? F that. I'm going to have 1,000 realtors see me because I know I can walk on water. Not everyone's going to like me. I want 1,000 realtors that see me every day on social, weekly on my email newsletter. 300 I need to just get to where they know and like me. They need to know who I am. Zoom call, phone call, event. I need 50 that know, like, and trust me. And I just need 10 that love me. And what's love? They'll refer me another realtor. So I said, I'm just going to lean on the math, right? And I'm going to make sure these 1,000 realtors get my value in advance. So now, events, when I would walk in, my energy was always good. Little bumper guards throughout the day. Like I'm very big on affirmations. Like it's almost like crazy. Like if you shadow me, I'm like, Before I go with my family, I'm like, showtime. Be there for Valentina, phone off, take this moment. I have talks with myself. So when I go into an event, I'm like, Amir, have fun, be energetic. Let your energy be your calling. So then I had a great reputation. Realtors would see me and like, Amir, oh my gosh, that post you made, I'm on your newsletter. I already advanced my value. And I would play it cool, was never desperate. Salespeople have to be in a position of want and not need. So I put myself in a position like, I don't need any of these agents. I'm going to be cool. Right? So that's not, I know people are looking for like the tactic. No, the event is now you physically see me in the flesh and you removed any maybe assumptions about me. You're like, damn, you're actually really cool. And I don't talk business at events. That's not the platform for it. I'm super curious, Shayla. My wife makes fun of me. Like, you're curious, George. I love to learn about people. I want to know their origin story. I want to know what makes them tick. I'm just naturally like that. But the whole time I'm having that conversation, I make sure when I walk away from people, and I do this genuinely, I want a home buyer to walk away saying, wow, that was incredible how you just explained things to me. That realtor should say, wow, what a great guy. Wow, he's going to make me a lot of money. Wow. So that's the tactic, you know?
So here's what I want to tease out of that. Number one, you've gone for level 11 excellence in everything you've done.
That's right.
You and I were talking about do the boring stuff for 10 years straight, but do it with the intention to be excellent. And you will completely change your entire life, your family's life, the generations to come's lives. And I remember you interviewed me for Go Coaching about 1.5 years ago. And I'm like, this dude has read every single book and he's got clip notes on every single book because you're a voracious learner. And that's why you said, I need to have value to be valuable. And so everybody can up their game on reading and learning and just read what you care about and or what your audience cares about. I love that you said you've studied all the realtor books and read them all. You and I are the same in that way. Every conference we've gone to, I go to the realtor classes because I want to know what are they worried about? What keeps them up at night? What do they got to get good at? How can I support that? So the other thing is I love that you said the word cool. So I've known always I'm not cool. So I've never tried to be cool. And maybe that's a guy girl thing. So I'm a networker as well. I've never persuaded the audience or any of that stuff. Like I am on social, but I'm not a marketer. I'm not strategic. I hate copywriting. It's not my deal at all. I'm a technician. So I'm extremely strategic. So we're doing the same thing. We're both networking. We're going to go into a big room and we're trying to get people that love us so that they refer us more people, because that's a great business when you love the people you work with and they love you and are highly loyal. And you get highly referred to your clients and highly referred to other badass people, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just what life is about. Being a rainmaker is not just about generating leads. It's about generating rad relationships in every area of your life and rad circumstances. Like, wait a minute, what are we doing? We're going to the surf ranch and we're just invited to somebody's catamaran over here or there. That's all relationship building. And so what I want to say for those that are like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be on social media every single day to 1,000 people and learn copywriting and do all that. Good, because you're not a marketer. But if you are a marketer archetype, then become obsessed with being next level wow at that. For me, I'm next level wow at being strategic technician, solving people's problems and learning how to do the loans that nobody knows how to do. Learn, like you probably never went around talking about guidelines and save deals or whatever on a long-term basis, because it's not what you love. It's not who you are. I'm a freaking nerd that loves spreadsheets, guidelines, strategy, business plans. Like that's what I like. So I will tell you, I'm opposite in the sense that I don't even look people up on social. Like I've hired people, Amir, like I just hired a super cool kid in San Diego. He's a realtor and a loan officer, by the way, and he's doing ADU development. And he's so smart and fascinating. And he's like 33 and he was in the Navy as an officer and he played some professional football for a minute. We weren't even friends on social media until after he joined. I didn't even look him up there. I don't know why, but like where my strength is to be in the moment and go with my heart and my intuition and to connect. That's where I trust myself. You trusted I'm so valuable and I'm now I could lay back and be cool. I trusted that my strategic brain, if I can get in front of you and I can know you and I can know what your problem is and I can know where you want to go, that I can be like, ooh, I've got an idea for you. Or what if we did this or that? Or, we could be a partner together. And I trusted on my work ethic, right? I trusted on like, nobody's going to be as passionate and hardworking as Shayla Gifford is. And so I guess the reason I'm illuminating this point is that whatever your opportunity is, if you're going to go networking, then you've got to bring your A game to the table. And I'm so happy that you talked about, wow. One thing you said earlier is ordinary. Tell us this thing about ordinary and extraordinary, because that's just a great takeaway.
So check this out, right? You said, I would argue, I think you're super cool. I think, I mean, everyone was going to be like, what are you talking? Like, you're strategic, but you're like a unicorn. Like, you're super driven, relentless, competitive. Everyone loves you. Like you're like a unicorn, but I think what we both have that everyone can have is we're just obsessed, right? Like, this is our craft. What I said earlier, this immigrant part of me is I was never educated like the other kids. I didn't have money. So I said, I'm going to outwork everybody. And what I realized in that telemarketing job is this is where I learned this, Shayla, is I would work late Friday nights. I would pray it would rain in Chicago on Saturday mornings because people were home. I'd work Monday through Saturday. I never worked Sundays. That was my day of rest. But I would just put more reps than most people. I'm like, I always say in Go Coaching, your career is like a 30-year amortization. You got to just start making payments. But the beginning is a lot of interest. Make the next payment, less interest, less interest, less interest. Go Coaching and coaching is just, you'll be on a 5-year amortization, right? Like, but you got to make the payment. You got to show up. The bank doesn't care how you feel. They need your payment. You got to just show up, and through the reps and through coaching, you'll get better. So we had a saying, we told us before the call, you and me, I said, my entire career literally is defined by, I'm an ordinary guy that has done ordinary work for an extraordinary period of time. And I've got extraordinary results because I just outlast everybody. Yep. Like, Go Coaching, people don't. I'm like, I'll show you. I wake up 7 days a week at 5 a.m. to 9 building it. And I did not stop. And I have not stopped since. I'm like, I'm now I can't stop. It's at the point where it's at. The other thing you said a little bit earlier, Bill, I want to make sure I touch on. Everyone talks about this whole ABC, always be closing. Well, because my English was, I look at words differently. I'm like, what? No. I'm like, ABC, always be cool. Loan officers that are listening to this, like, some of you guys are so short-term minded. I have picked up some of the most amazing relationships, realtors, financial advisors, entrepreneurs, because I'm like, maybe a N-O is a K-N-O-W. They know me now. I just got to put them in that forever value sequence. And it's just a matter of time. Then I'm going to do business. If you don't want to do business now, I'm cool, man. Because I'm not overselling a small audience. I got a big audience. The other thing is always be opening. People are always closing. Open people up. Always be opening. Always be cool. Now you got to learn closing tactics, but just play the long game. Stay on one thing. Always be cool. Always be opening and be organized. And you will make more money, make more impact, meet more people. It's not rocket science, man. And during the course of the time, go get domain mentors. Go learn from people that are in your industry. Ask a lot of questions. I'm a walking testimony to it. Like, this is why I think Gopal made the space. I'm like, when you look at me, you're like, dude, that guy can do it. That guy's like, I can do it. So.
I think you and I, that's why we coach too, is that we had great coaches as parents. Like, my inner voice is I'm constantly coaching myself. And I know not everybody has that inner voice. A lot of people have an inner critic. And the inner critic is constantly going, oh, I don't know. What about this? What about this? And you didn't do this right. And you didn't do this right. I think you and I were both blessed and instilled either through just genetics, but also through our parents, is I've constantly got an inner coach going. Am I hard on myself? Hell yes. Nobody's harder on me. But I'm looking for evidence and ways that I can do it and I can lean in and I have, what I can control. And those affirmations are huge. I want to close out with one thing that I got from you in your ordinary, extraordinary equation, which is do ordinary things for a long time.
Extraordinary amount of time.
Extraordinary amount of time, but do them with extraordinary passion or extraordinary energy. Like that's what I would say is my X factor, is that if you had an always be closing, mine would be like always be energetic. Like the thing that people would say about you and me collectively is I love your energy, because I'm not going to waste a single moment with somebody being grumpy or mediocre or flat or, like this is one life to live. Like, how do we just bring energy to people and love people? And the last thing is the way that you can remain cool is actually trusting yourself and trusting the plan that you have. And I think this is where you and I both blew up. We had the hustle and the hard work and the chip on our shoulder. We had some early mentors that said, just make more calls, that gave us sales contests, that gave us opportunities. But where we all of a sudden became a rainmaker and a business person and a leader is when we got mentors and other people around us. And we worked a plan. And I know that's what you obsess over and you teach in coaching and you coach people for every day, is to have a plan. But the key ingredient is to trust and work it.
Shayla, you nailed it. I hope people listening to this just realize we're simplifying, right? When I got into a bad fight, and I was telling you the story, and my parents moved me. What that is what Harvard did that study about. The number one indicator of success is your reference group. I went 1 mile away from Skokie to Wilmette. Completely different environment, exposed to new things, right?
Yep.
So in 2012, when I was down and out, I was in the mortgage business, for a long time. And I was like, I had this like hole in my heart. I'm like, I'm not producing, but I'm leading this branch. I got out of personal production. I'm not fulfilled. And like, I want to produce again. I'm kind of a fraud. I'm telling all these LOs in my branch to do what they're doing. They're loyal to me, but like, I'm getting annoyed with them. Like, I know I can do enough is enough. So I went to that mortgage summit in Vegas and I saw Todd and Josh on stage. And I said, oh my God, I need to be around these guys. My entire life has been like people. Like I have a lot of humility around it. They used to make fun of me in my first mortgage company when I was a telemarketer. I became a little branch manager. I would have to walk by 3 other branch managers on the floor to get to Kevin's office to help him structure loans. They would make fun of me. I'm like, here I go again. Like back in school, all the guys are making fun of me. I'm like, I don't care. Kevin knows the guidelines. I don't have any pride. I'm going to go ask him 17 times a day. Why would I want the answer? So what I realized is with the core where we're at, I'm like, if I want to do really well, my whole life is the good people around me. So I have a spark. I need to put it on fire. Let me be around other people that are on fire. Where are the people in this industry that are on fire? I'm like, Todd and Josh, I love these guys. They speak with no bullshit. They get right to it. Because coming from an immigrant household and being in Chicago, being in small business growing up, I got a pretty strong bullshit meter, right? Yeah. Like that intuition grew. I'm like, so I saw you on stage. I saw the Chris Haynes and all these people. I'm like, oh my God, I am not taking advice from anybody. I'm not going to trade places with, because most people's advice is superior to their actions. That's what I learned in my life. Who's doing the work? Who do I like? Tell me what to do. And then when we got into the core, my life changed because I was seeing all you guys through osmosis. So I changed my reference group. So everyone listening, you got to be in the right community. Second thing is the tracking. So I said, this is awesome. I'm like I need to do this 12 times a day.
Yeah.
Okay. Like if you don't track, you don't care. That's my biggest saying at Go Coaching. If you really care about it, you ever have a friend that they're so focused on losing weight? They're tracking everything. I'm like, he's going to be successful. He's going to lose weight because he's got his little notepad in the gym, putting his thing. I'm like, that guy right there, I'll never bet against him because he's tracking.
Yeah.
Right? If you don't track, you don't care. Be around the right community of people that get the results that you want. Make sure you follow, ask for advice, be super curious every day, white belt rookie mentality, right? And then track what you need to do every day and just do it for a long time. And it's that simple. Most people are not willing to do all three of those. That's a hyper seed of growth. Those 3 C's is coaching, classroom, and community. Get coached, study, like be your own classroom, watch YouTube videos in the morning. And here's what will happen. You'll get to the inflection point. I'm preaching to the choir. Everyone on this call just has to get to that inflection point because Love what you hate to do the first 6 months to a year. But you'll get to a point when you start seeing results, you will be addicted. You will be addicted and you'll be a completely different person. It just takes a short, maybe mid-level window of time to get to where you need to go, and you never want to go back. That pursuit will land you on excellence and it'll change who you are forever. It's just a race to that inflection point, man. That's the biggest thing I talk about.
Thank you. I talk a lot in Catalyst about being on fire because when you feel on fire, and especially I work a lot on balance, on fire in your relationships. I know you love your wife and I love your daughter and you're devoted and you're present. And do you struggle with balancing work and life? And hell yes. Are you a little bit of an overworker? Yeah, a lot. We're obsessed. We love this stuff, but we're constantly working on it. And I wrote down, be around people that are superior in action and you're taking action. Listen, if you've got a spark in your belly, if you know you're made for more, if you want to create your own self-made story, I hope you become obsessed with excellence. But most importantly, I hope you leave this podcast episode and think, how am I going to get that conviction that I can help this person in front of me? Because when you're sitting with a borrower in front of you, or you're calling for that cash out refi, or you're, talking to that realtor at that one-on-one coffee appointment, or you're at a networking event and it's that awkward, butterfly in your belly and you go, I got to get uncomfortable. I got to go say hello. I got to ask for the appointment. It's going to help you tremendously when you have conviction. I know I have something to offer. I know I'm going to work harder than anyone else. I know I'm going to help you make money. I know I'm going to help you save time. I know I can do this for you. You've got to work on that own inner coach and get the conviction. And I promise you, being around other people like Amir and I helps, because you go, oh, these guys are actually totally freaking normal. And they're kind of a hot mess. And they're kind of like hilarious and dorky relatable. And all the things, right? So Amir, this podcast will come out after your convention, but how can people get involved or contact you or stay connected to Amir or Go Coaching?
Well, Shayla, this has been an honor to be with you. Thank you. You always bless me. Your energy is always on 10. So this has been a treat for me here today. And I'm very grateful for you. I don't use the word grateful lightly. Very careful when I use that. You are so needed. And I'm just honored to be your friend. You always impact me. Like there are people every day. I like to go to bed wiser and smarter than I woke up. And like my wife always be checking in, like, how was your day? And like just being with you is amazing. Like, wow. Thank you. Thank you very much, Shayla, for being you. So we have GrowthCon coming up May 2nd. This is going to probably come out, but we do them every May and every October. If we're not connected on social, guys, connect with me. Just at Amir Syed. All right. Just send me a DM. Let me know you listen to this. We'll just start staying connected. That's the new business card of the world, but we DM them on Facebook. But it's gocoaching.io is the Instagram handle. And guys, I have loan officers every day DM me across the country. Send me a voice note. I'm like all about LO Nation. You need anything, you need advice, just DM me. I respond to all of them. I am accessible. So we are here for you. We are Amir and Shayla are here. Like you need people like us. We need people like you. Like this is the time we got to stick together. So I hope to hear from all of you that are listening.
Yeah. And it's super helpful if you go take the Rainmaker assessment on ShaylaGifford.com and you say, I am a trust builder networker. Give me a strategy. Or, this is where I'm running into a problem, because I don't want to just give you some off the shelf generic. Neither does Amir. We want to tell you like, dude, this is who you are. If you're a trust builder, stop networking. Like you suck in big groups, go one-to-one. And why not get this friend to introduce you to that friend? So there's so much depth to strategy. Love and it. Him and I geek out on this stuff. So thank you, Amir. This has been a true pleasure. And you are like level 10 awesome. And I'm just so fueled. And I know if I feel this way, everybody listening will too. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Shayla. Thank you, everybody.